Hey guys, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. It's basically going to be a presentation on the very popular Canadian Federal Express Entry Visa that's so popular with our clients, our New World Immigration clients. This presentation is exclusively for you guys. If you have any questions relating to this presentation, please speak to your consultant. This is merely a guideline of the structural makeup of the Federal Express Entry program, just to answer some of the key questions that our clients have relating to this program. So let's start. Okay, so on the agenda today, we'll be talking about the Federal Express Entry Visa, the process, how it all unfolds and how you actually get it approved. What is the Express Entry Pool? The costs involved, all government and third-party fees, and most importantly, to some people, processing time, how long it takes to get. Okay, so what is the Federal Express Entry Visa? So it's basically a program designed by the federal government, the federal Canadian federal government, to attract all the best skills from around the world, all the best talents. So they're primarily looking for very young, skilled and qualified individuals with work experience and who can speak the English language. So predominantly or mainly English speaking applicants with nice qualifications and work experience. So point 2 here actually talks about what I've just mentioned, and ultimately what's on offer, what's on the cards is to acquire permanent residency based on your skill set alone. So the amazing thing about the Federal Express Entry Visa is that you do not need a job offer in Canada to get this visa. You can actually get one before you arrive, ultimately helping you source work through applications made to employers by having the correct status. And that's so important when we talk to our clients. We talk about job security. We talk about making sure that you have this visa in place that gives you the power to ultimately look for work without any hassles or without any employers having question marks around your work permit abilities, your working abilities through that of a work permit. So it's a very powerful visa. So it works on a points-based system. So they look at things like your age, your qualifications, your English language experience, and all those things that I mentioned before. It helps build a points profile for you. Ultimately, the individuals with the highest points get selected first out of the Express Entry Pool. So as it says here, you need to have good qualifications, be relatively young, and have at least 3 years of work experience. Counter to what this says, you actually need 3 years of work experience in a professional capacity relating to professions found on the National Occupational Classification List. So for example, if you got an LLB, like as a lawyer, and you conducted work as a physiotherapist, they would count those years work experience, towards your points profile. So you wouldn't have a problem in that respect. Excuse the stumbling of my words there. So the process is divided up into 2 clear stages at New World Immigration. Okay, so the first stage is the efforts made to get into the pool. The second stage is the stage that takes place and all the processes that takes place after you are selected out of the pool. So the first component in the first stage is to get your skills assessment done. The skills assessment is a process whereby we get your skills and work experience assessed by the relevant assessing authority in Canada to make sure that your skills are on par with Canadian standards. The second component is to get your English language test done. Now, I know this might seem daunting to some, but we do this day in, day out. We know exactly how this exam is presented to our clients. We even have IELTS tutors that our company pays for to get you up to speed for your English language exam. So it's basically an exam to test your English language ability, to see if you can conduct yourself properly when it comes to social integration into Canada, and that of course comes with understanding the English language. So that's the second component. The third component is to get your profile logged with an organization or a platform called JobBank. Now, JobBank is basically a government-funded recruitment platform that exposes your profile to provinces in Canada and prospective employers. So if an employer wants to source a skilled individual, JobBank is the place where they will go to learn more about your skill set, for example, looking at your CV and things like that. The fourth component is actually getting your application prepared and submitted into the Express Entry Pool. So what is the Express Entry Pool? It's a pool of applicants from around the world. Remember, we were talking about those skilled individuals that Canada is looking for. So everyone from around the world that is interested in moving to Canada under this program is going to be submitting applications into this Express Entry Pool. Depending on your point score, the idea is to get yourself selected out of the pool and offered what's called an ITA. So that is an invitation from the Canadian government inviting you to apply for permanent residency. It's what the objective is and it's what the goal is. That is what we strive for. All our applicants that we submit into the Express Entry Pool are high scoring applicants. So if you've been sent a quotation and you are watching this video, the likelihood is that you've been pre-approved to get an application into the Express Entry Pool, and you stand a really good chance of being selected out quite quickly. So basically the Canadian government, they'll start at the top and work their way down, depending on what your score is. So the top scoring applicants get selected first, and ultimately the rest will follow. So naturally, what you must do as an applicant and what we must do is we must make sure together that we build a profile for you that gets the highest number of points, basically increasing your chances of being selected very early. So stage 2 is when you get your invitation to apply. What do we do in that stage? We basically take the ITA, this invitation that was received during stage 1. We take all the other approvals, your skills assessment, your English language exam, documents and things like that, and we start preparing an application to the Immigration Department of Canada. And ultimately, that is the final application that we make to basically get your permanent residency pre-approved. That process is quite complicated. It is heavily laden with documentation requirements. So it's important that you use a trained expert, i.e. our company, to help you piece that application together. And during the stage 2 process, when submitting an application for your permanent residency pre-approval, they look at things like your personal documents, family documents. They want to know that you're medically fit to travel. They want to have evidence of a clean criminal record, etc. So what happens when you get your pre-approval? So ultimately, that pre-approval comes in the form of a letter. It gets sent to us by the Canadian authorities. We will then make contact with you and let you know that Canada has invited you to apply for permanent residency. So what do we do with that? You've basically got 60 days to gather up all your resources and ultimately get that application submitted. Well, once you get your ITA, you've got 60 days to actually get that application prepared and submitted into at the Canadian Immigration Department, and ultimately you then wait for your pre-approval. Once approved, you've got 1 year to enter Canada. So a lot of our clients are concerned about the timeframes involved. When they get approved, do they need to leave straight away? Can they go and come back? The idea is that you take things slowly. So once you get approved, you've got 1 full year to make your way over to Canada to activate your permanent residency. So ultimately, in that year, you'll do what's called like a look and see trip. Some people do that, or some people actually go indefinitely. They go and they don't come back to South Africa. A lot of our clients go on like a look and see trip. They go and look at cities and towns and schools for their kids, and they go and see a few prospective employers, maybe attend a few interviews, hand in their resumes and things like that. It's recommended, if you haven't been to Canada before, to ultimately do that, to give you guys the best insight into what Canadian life is all about. So what happens when you arrive in Canada for the first time to activate your permanent residency? So you'll walk through immigration, you'll present your pre-approval, they will recognize that on the systems and they'll stamp you in as permanent residents. So it's an amazing time for you as an applicant. You'll walk through with you and your family. You'll be granted permanent residency on arrival in Canada. You'll pass through the airport, and ultimately on the other side, you'll be a permanent resident immediately. From that point, you can do a range of things for a 5-year period. You've basically got 5 years validity on that permanent residency visa to conduct business, to study, to work for any employer. There's a whole range of things that you can do as a permanent resident. I must just note that there are limitations with regards to permanent residency, 2 in particular. You cannot vote and you cannot join the army. So I'm sure some of you are quite upset about that, but be that as it may, not a big deal. So when you pass through immigration control and you get your permanent residency stamped in your passport, and we were talking about that 5-year validity period, this is quite an important thing to remember. Within those 5 years, if you can stay in Canada and work legally, contribute to the system, pay your tax, integrate yourself socially, within 3 years, you'll become eligible for a Canadian passport, which is quite a powerful passport to have if you're looking at perhaps traveling further around the world or just enjoying life in Canada. So that's the idea. So let's trace it back to step 1. Stage 1 is to get your skills assessment done. It's to do your English language exam. It's to get your job bank application submitted onto that platform, and ultimately submit your application into the express entry pool. We then wait. We wait for the government to select you out of the pool depending on your point score. When they select you out of the pool, you get issued with what's called an ITA. That's when stage 2 begins. Stage 2 is the application made to the immigration department in Canada to get your permanent residency pre-approved. Once your permanent residency has been pre-approved, you then make your way over to Canada to activate your permanent residency. When you pass through immigration, your permanent residency at that point in time will be activated. You've then got 5 years to live and work and stay in Canada. Within those 5, if you can do 3 years, you're all good for Canadian citizenship. So what are the costs? We charge 25,000 Rand per stage. That is what New World Immigration charges to help you complete this process. So 25,000 Rand for stage 1 and 25,000 Rand for stage 2. Why do we do this? We like to work it stage by stage to reduce your financial exposure to a process that is not in any way 100% certain. Yes, we can attach a guarantee on our workflows and our statistics. Yes, we do we've got a success rate of 99.4%, and we wouldn't take you on unless we felt that we couldn't get you into Canada. But ultimately, we do things stage by stage. So that's one of the features of using New World Immigration, and it's something that we're quite proud of. So only once we complete stage 1 do we then move over to stage 2 and complete that stage. Okay, as it mentions here, so we only complete stage 2 once we have completed stage 1. So the idea is to get selected out of that pool. When you get selected out of that pool with your high score and you get your ITA, stage 2 is charged for at that point. So what are the government and third-party fees? So this varies depending on the number of family members you have and the assessing authority that we ultimately use to submit your skills assessment with. So more often than not, you are looking at an assessing authority fee of around about 230 Canadian dollars. There are different assessing authority fees for lawyers, pharmacists, and some other professional occupations. But just make sure that you speak to your consultants. If that's me, you can chat to me with regards to the assessing authority fees. But if you look at the quotation email that's been sent to you, or one is still to be sent, look at that email and you'll see a full breakdown of all the assessing authority fees relating to your stage 1 of your Federal Express Entry Program application. Okay, so yeah, please make reference to the quotation email that has been sent to you highlighting a breakdown of the fees. So how long does this all take? How long before you can get into Canada to activate that PR? So we're looking at between 12 and 16 months. I think the record for New World Immigration is 6 months. So ultimately, very high scoring applicant. We submitted him into the pool and he was selected quite quickly and issued his ITA and ultimately applied, got PR approval and made his way over to Canada within 6 months. But as a safeguard, we like to say between 12 and 16 months to give you time to prepare for this exciting journey. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your consultant. You can WhatsApp us, you can call us, or you can email us. If you want to check out our website, it's www.nwivisas.com. Or more importantly, if you've been sent a login to your portal, go check it out. Go have a look at your portal. We've got some amazing ebooks there talking about life in Canada, which explains everything there is to know from a migrant's perspective on Canada. So we would encourage you to ultimately look at that and have a click around to see all the exciting information relating to Canada. We also have a nice function where you can check what salaries you can earn in Canada. It's a pay scale function. So we've partnered with PayScale in the US, and ultimately we have that option on our portal as well. You punch in your city, your occupation, and it'll tell you what salary you could look forward to in Canada in those various cities. So thanks again so much for your time. We are so excited to help you with your application, and yeah, looking forward to hearing from you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.